Hey guys, and welcome to another edition of the Football View. I'm AJ, and what a great weekend of football we've had again in the Barclays Premier League. A lot of shocks in the Barclays Premier League, and one of the shocks of the league, and the game I felt was the game of the weekend was Chelsea versus Crystal Palace, with Crystal Palace winning 2-1 in Stamford Bridge, and Jose Mourinho's 100th home game for Chelsea. And it's a game that I would have felt that Chelsea should be winning. However, this is a different Palace side from last season, who are playing with no fear under Alan Pardew, with the likes of Balassi, Zaha, Sacco, Ponchion, and Cabaye in their squad. A lot of players with flair in their squad, and they play with no fear, and that's how they played against Chelsea, with no fear. They took the game to Chelsea, and you could say that they did deserve to get all 3 points in that game. And I felt, and the thing is with Crystal Palace, it's not like they're playing boring football. They're playing football that keeps you at the edge of your seat, and it's actually enjoyable to watch. They know how to keep the ball, Palace, and they're very good football inside. And with Chelsea, more defensive problems, because Palace's 2 goals came from Ivanovic's side, who's had like a very poor start to the season, and he looks a bit shaky. And not just Ivanovic, the whole team looks like they're still on holiday after winning the league, and they need to wake up if they're going to retain their title. Jose Mourinho, it's looking, there's a lot going on within Chelsea as well, with Mourinho not letting the doctors be on the side, in the dugout. He's feeling that he's not getting the support to get the players he wants, and it's starting to sound like when Jose Mourinho walked out on Chelsea in 2007. And hopefully they can sort all of this mess out, so they can start a title charge towards the end of from now to towards the end of the season. Onto another shock in the season in this weekend was West Ham going to Anfield and claiming all 3 points with a 3-0 victory against Liverpool. Their first victory at Anfield since 1963. 1963 was the last time they won there. And you would have not known it's been so long that they've won there by how they play, because you can't lie. They did park the bus, but you can say they parked it in the right way, because they grabbed 3 goals from it, so they must have done something right in order to prevent Liverpool from scoring. And you can tell question marks over Brendan Rodgers, if he's the right man to take Liverpool forward. And you start to think that maybe he's not the right man, considering since Luis Suarez has left, and the money they got from him, they've not used it in the right way. But hopefully the likes of Benteke will step it up, and I'm hearing Sturridge could be coming back pretty soon, and that could help the attackers, because considering Coutinho is going to be suspended for the next game, they need help. And it's against Manchester United, their rivals, and they need a lot. They need to start gelling soon, because at the start of the season they hadn't conceded a goal, but today they conceded 3 goals. So there's still work of improvement. And talk about the red card. Coutinho's red card, his second yellow, was a second bookable event. You can't argue with that. It is a yellow. It's a bit of a lazy challenge, and he did deserve a second yellow in the sending off. Whilst for the other sending off, which was Mark Noble's straight red card, I felt that was a very soft red card. I don't even think it really deserved a booking. Maybe a talking to just calm it down a bit, but I don't think he deserved the red card. And hopefully, with an appeal, West Ham could be successful. But on to West Ham. 2 away victories against arguably 2 teams that you can say are challenging to get the Champions League spot, and even challenging for the title, beating Arsenal 2-0 at the Emirates, and beating Liverpool 3-0 at Anfield, and conceding no goals against both of them is pretty good. However, their home form, which is 2 losses against Bournemouth and Leicester, you can argue that they should be winning those type of games. But all in all, it was a good game. It was a good weekend for the underdogs, you could say. And talking about with Noble and Coutinho being saying, talk about red cards brings me to Stoke versus West Brom, a game that at the start you would have felt that Stoke should be winning this game comfortable, considering they've had quite a decent start to the Premier League season. But they got two stupid red cards in that game, which you could actually say cost them the match. In fact, it did cost them the match, with Afellay slapping an opponent, which is not acceptable in the game, and obviously it did deserve a straight red. And Charlie Adam getting sent off for a stamp, which is arguably a red card in this modern day of football. So it was mistakes caused by them that cost them Stoke the game. But it was good to see that Rondon finally got his first goal for West Brom, and hopefully from then he can move on, considering that Berahino did hand in a transfer request, and it is still likely that he could be leaving. But hopefully Rondon can step up from that game. But again, Stoke are down to 9 men. You would have expected West Brom to, take the game by the neck and, get more goals. But they kept a clean sheet, you can say, which is a positive. But you could have felt that they could have got more goals for that game. Tottenham versus Everton, which was it. I can't lie, it was quite a boring game. The only thing that happened was the 2 injuries to Tom Cleverley, which was like a very nasty ankle injury, and Dembele, who twisted his ankle. Well, again, the question marks on Harry Kane, who's not scored since last season. But there's a lot of pressure on Harry Kane because at the moment he's the only striker, even though Tottenham, you could say, have brought in 2 more attacking players in the past week. But you can tell, I think he still looks a bit tired. He's played a lot of football this summer, considering he was at the Under-21 Championships with England. And he's got the whole nation and the whole club on him, And that's a lot of pressure for someone of his age. And he's still a young striker, still learning the traits of the game. But hopefully he will kick on after the international break. And hopefully we can see him going back to the Harry Kane of last season. And talking about someone linked with Tottenham is Tim Sherwood, the ex-Tottenham, ex-Spurs manager. Aston Villa drawing 2-2 with Sunderland, which I thought was quite an exciting game. Two teams are under the cosh that you expect better, even though you can say people will say that Sunderland are probably relegation candidates to go down. You can see that Sunderland are showing progress in their defensive game, and they did. Envia's free kick was amazing. It was like the Envia that played in France before he moved to Russia. This was the Envia we know, and hopefully he can come good, and this can give him confidence. Aston Villa is still work in progress. They got a lot of young players in that squad, and it takes time for young players to gel, and hopefully they're a team to watch. To another draw in the Premier League, which was Bournemouth versus Leicester. It saw 2 strikers that we were thinking were under Roy Hodgson's radar of getting an England call-up in Callum Wilson and Vardy. They both had a good game. Callum Wilson scoring a nice goal and Vardy scoring a penalty. Vardy actually got an England call-up, and it's actually a deserved England call-up. He shows a lot of energy, that never say dies. He will always run. He'll always try and get a dead ball, a ball that some players will just let run off. He will keep chasing that ball. And with how he's going, he does deserve that England call-up. And this is the reason why Leicester are actually doing well and are in the position they are. Personally, I don't think they're going to stay there, as I've said many times. But with how they're going, they are showing progress under Ranieri. But the game was, the problem, the game will always be known, Bournemouth versus Leicester, with refereeing decisions. But I felt that there could have been 3 penalties, but the referee ignored that. And the officials have been really under the tosh since the season started with their decision makings and getting decisions wrong. And I think during this international break, they need to sort out understanding the rules, because it's like, from what I'm seeing, it's like they don't understand the rules, and they need to refresh their memories about some of the rules. Talking about refereeing decision, even though there were some negatives in that game, in Newcastle versus Arsenal, there was some good refereeing decision with Mitrovic getting red carded. You could say that red card has been coming since his start of the season. Like it's like he's coming too turned up to games. Like he's always on a mad one. You get me? He's always fouling. It's like unnecessary tackles. And to be honest, people are arguing, and the Newcastle fans from the reaction did not believe he deserved the red card. And personally, I felt he deserved it, and it was a red card coming. People could say that it's because of his reputation. That's why he probably got the red card. But it was a red card deserved. And Arsenal capitalised on that, getting a 1-0 victory. And I'm liking Arsenal. They're grinding out victories. Not everyday fancy football, leaving yourself exposed. Sometimes you have to grind out those victories. And it was the sub. No, actually, he started Oxlade-Chamberlain. Someone that Arsenal fans and fans alike have been saying should be starting for Arsenal, as he's got that pace and energy. He took a shot which took a deflection, a massive deflection from Coloccini. But you could say that goal was coming. But again, Arsenal are still... They still need a striker. And until they get that striker, they're going to have problems. Because personally, don't get me wrong, Giroud's a good striker. But is he the guy that could lead them to the promised land? I don't think so. But hopefully there's still a few days left in this transfer window. And they can still sort this out. As for Newcastle, they do have a lot of good players, but they need to calm down because they're just flying into tackles. I know they want to impress the home fans, but there's times where you don't need to fly into tackles. And that was shown with the amount of yellow cards they got against Arsenal, and they were deserved. It could have even been worse. They could have had more sending-offs. And Newcastle, with Steve McClaren, he needs to go back to the drawing board and sort out this team. Even if that means he needs to sit Mitrovic down and talk to him to calm it down and just stay up there. Because they need him with the reputation he has, not just for fouling, but he's got a good goal record when he was playing in Belgium. And then the team that have started so well, Manchester City... What can you say with them? There's nothing negative to say about them. They've just gone inside Kevin De Bruyne, another player. As I said, they've got a player for every position. And at the moment, they're looking like favourites to taking the title of Chelsea. They still haven't conceded a goal. And how it looks like, I don't know how you're going to score a goal. Like, they've got Kompany and Mangala who are looking like beasts. Because you know they're playing for their spot. Because they know if they make one mistake, Otamendi's there to take over. And Watford, there's nothing much. Like they'll learn, you know. They've just come back to the Premier League. They need time to settle in, but hopefully the points will start coming in. Even though I'm sorry to say, I still think they will get relegated, but hopefully they'll learn from that. And to another shock, Sunday football, Swansea, their third victory in a row against Manchester United, winning 2-1, and I'm sorry to say they kind of deserved it. In football, if you don't take your chances, you're gonna end up burnt, and that was shown with Man United. Dominated possession, but it's all good and fun dominating possession if you cannot score. And they had chances, and they're not taking their chances. And it's just like Arsenal. There's someone that they need a striker because to help Rooney take that pressure off of Rooney, because Rooney looks isolated there and he needs that help. He needs runners running from each side. And with United, it just looks slow. And that's the opposite to Swansea. Swansea is quick. If you see Ayew, and they didn't have Montero, who was injured. Imagine if they had Montero starting. It would have even been more problems for Man United. And that's the thing. United are lacking pace. And you can see from Swansea, look how much it took to build their team. It wasn't that expensive. Ayew was free. I think Gomes must have cost under 10 million. Montero, I think, are roughly under 10 million. These are flair play. And United, Depay 25 million, Mata 37. Big money buys. Do you know what I mean? And they're not doing that much. Di Maria, who we thought last season was gonna be the man, look at him. He's gone off to PSG. Like there's a lot of problems going on in Manchester United, and they need to sort it out. Sorry, and on to Southampton finally getting a victory after a very slow and poor start, and a lot of outgoing surrounding Southampton, especially with talk of Sadio Mane and Victor Wanyama leaving. Two pivotal players to their squad, and if they lose those two, it's problems with them. But onto the positive, it was a comfortable 3-0 victory with Sadio Mane involved in 3 of those goals. He got 2 assists in that game. And you can see why he's drawn a lot of attention from Manchester United. But hopefully he can stay and they can sort out the Victor Wanyama situation and get him to stay as well. But Norwich, you could say it was a bit... Again, talking about red cards, it was too... I felt there were 2 soft yellow cards. Some referees can let them go and some will give them yellow cards for those. But I felt there were 2 bookings, and you can actually argue that was the turning point in the game, Whittaker getting sent off. And from then it was just all Southampton and they took their chances. Hopefully Southampton can strengthen their team for the last remaining few days of the transfer window and they can build up from there, considering they got a victory now. But it's been a great weekend of football. Again, thank you guys for watching. Continue to leave your comments below. Share the video. Leave your likes and dislikes at the bottom. And keep on watching. I'm your boy AJ. Thanks for watching. Peace, love, and safe.